Hello, thanks for the invitation. I would like to present geoscientific model development on behalf of the editorial board, which is listed here. Of course, first question, what is GMD, geoscientific model development? And I would like to show you why we need it and what is published in GMD. First of all, GMD is an international scientific journal, and the topic is the description and evaluation of numerical models of the Earth system and its components. We started in 2008, and GMD is a publication by the publisher Copernicus on behalf of the EGU. Some people think that the only way to figure out the quality of a journal is the impact factor. I don't think so, but for those who do think so, I think we don't have anything to hide. We are quite happy with a factor of 6. One thing which I think is important is that GMD is an open access journal, actually like all EGU journals now, and also which is different from many other scientific journals. It contains an interactive discussion, so the reviews are not hidden, the reviews are public, but the reviewer still, if they want to, can remain anonymous. So, why do we need GMD? Science is about reproducibility. If model details are not fully described, then there is no way for other scientists to replicate the findings, and this is not what science should be like. So it is important to publish your code and give others the chance to reproduce their results, your results. Accessibility. Other people should also be able to access your code to see what you have been doing. So that's why we do strongly encourage the author to make the code and also the user manual available. As you can see, strongly is in parentheses. Initially, in 2008, we started without the word strongly because we didn't know what would happen. But now that the journal is accepted in the community, we added strongly to it. We really want the authors to publish their code, but we're not in a stage yet where we can force people to do so. So what you can do with your code, either you put it into the electronic supplement of the paper, if it's not too big, or if it's really big, then you can create or get a dummy at some data archive like Zenodo or some other archive. Traceability. Quite often you have a geoscientific model and some people publish a paper with it, a year later someone else publishes a paper, and the results are somewhat different. And in the end it turns out, well, it was because they used a different version of the model. So we think it is important to do proper model versioning, and if there is a new version of the model, there should be a new small incremental paper saying we changed this and that's why we have a new version, and the title contains the version number, and you know, okay, slightly different model, slightly different results. One more thing about the version numbers. To make sure that you have all those papers about different versions together, there is an easy way to put those into a special issue which contains the same model but different versions of it. Peer review. Again, why do we need GMD? Normal peer review is just about the paper, the manuscript, the text. But we also encourage the reviewers to look at the model code and comment on the model code. Again, we're not at the stage where we can enforce this. It's optional, but we encourage it. Finally, last but not least, recognition. This is very important for people who develop models, but may not be the model users. It's quite often that some people develop code, other people use it, and those who use it finally get their Science or Nature paper, and those who develop it end up with a technical paper on the personal web page. And that's also something we would like to change by giving a peer-reviewed publication to the model developer. What is published in GMD? The main topic is model description papers, which contain comprehensive description of numerical models, and this should really be detailed. Not like, well, we use this model and you know what it contains, it's a CCM and so on, but we really want to see the details. We publish papers about complete models, but also about components. If you just have a small contribution to a big Earth system model, that's fine as well. For traceability, we always want the model name and the version number in the title. And ideally, there are three parts: the main paper, which contains text and the formulas from your code, the user manual, and the source code. And of course, in the text, you should describe the science behind your code. The model web page should be mentioned, and hard and software requirements as well, and also the license. So sometimes it's not even possible to give the code away if it belongs not to you but to someone else, and then at least you should state this, although this is not what we prefer. And there should be some examples of model output. Not a full scientific paper, but you should at least prove that your model produces some sensible results. And we want a section code availability, in which you write down how can people access the code, and if they cannot, why not. The code must always be available, however, for the editor and the referees. And this code availability is actually something which is very similar to the policy of the Nature Publishing Group. So here is an example from my own work. This is what a GMD paper looks like on the web page, and a few things to look at. So here on the left you see that it is under the Creative Commons Attribution License. You are free to download the paper and share it with colleagues. Here you can see the model version, which is always supposed to be in the title, well, the model name and the model version. A special issue, so this model belongs to a suite of models, and the others are described in other papers, which all are in the special issue. You can click on it and then you see all the GMD papers, and also maybe papers from other EDU journals about this model. Here we have the supplement. In this case, I decided to put the model code into the supplement. It's not so big, 5 MB, so that's fine. I don't need a big data archive for that. And there is also the discussion paper, so here you can actually see where, well, this is the page where you can find the comments from the reviewers, which are still available after the model and the paper have been published. For the current paper, there was a slight complication. So what I was presenting in my paper is this part, a mecha chemistry module. And this is a module which goes into the Ekem-Messi chemistry climate model. I wanted to make my model code, my module, open source. However, the chemistry climate model, Ekem, contains ECMWF code, and you need to sign a software license agreement, and I couldn't upload the whole code. So what I did is I just plugged the chemistry into a small box model. This is a box model which just contains some photolysis, some chemical reactions in the gas phase and in aqueous phase particles and emissions from the ocean. Very simple. But now with my chemistry plugged into the box model, I have a working model that people can use. It contains exactly the same chemistry that other people who do have the license can use in the global chemistry climate model. So that's why I added the box model as well to the paper. Just quickly, a few other types. So we have technical development and evaluation papers. This is, if you don't have a model, but some technical developments or parameterizations for subgrid processes, evaluation of already published models, or benchmarks. Well, the benchmark actually are another paper type. If you compare two models, see how you can make them faster. We also publish this. Then there are model intercomparisons, which are very important in the climate sciences, because the models are pretty complex, and there are always differences between them. Last but not least, corrigenda. Sometimes it's necessary to correct your paper, and people usually are a bit shy about it, saying, oh no, I hope no one will notice that I made an error. But we actually encourage to publish those because we think it's better to publish them, admit that you did an error, than to keep it secret, and later people will figure it out and say, oh, why didn't they tell us directly if they knew about this? That's it. If you're interested, take a look at this webpage. Thank you.
Thanks. Next speaker is Jens, and